What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is Jake from Kiteboarding. Today, we got a little bit of a special video. We are going to talk about whether you should go with a 15 or a 17 for your light wind kite. Don't get too hung up on the numbers. Essentially think of it, should you go with something smaller in the 14-15 range or something 17-18 plus? But we're gonna say 15-17 for the sake of this video. This is a tough one, and honestly, my thoughts on it have changed over time. So early on, I was always a 17-meter guy. The bigger the kite, the more power it had. I was always okay trading off the turning speed because you had more oomph when you were out there. So a 17 will give you a little bit more low end at the very start of that threshold, you know? So what I mean by that is that wind where it's just possible to start kiting with your equipment. You always have to really think about what you want when you're going out in threshold winds because you might end up with a swim. That's where something like a 17 is going to give you a little bit more power, but understand it's going to come at the cost of weight. So you don't gain as much as you might think despite picking up that square meterage. That's where something like a foil kite will make a bigger difference and canopy shape comes into play. That's a whole other video. What you will get though is more power as the wind speed increases. And obviously that only goes to a point. Eventually you'll get overpowered. But as you start to get into that fun rideable range above threshold, you will have more pull from your kite. So you're going to feel a little bit more confident jumping, doing tricks. Okay, so why then do I prefer 15s now? I think the reason is it's just a better all-around kite. So you do lose some of that light wind performance. You will lose some of that power in the lower winds. But in turn, you get a kite that it feels like you can do a bit more with. And maybe part of me has moved away from threshold wind chasing and just realizing those are the days to pick one of my other hobbies to do. Even if I do threshold wind chase though, if I pair it with a foil or a big board, I feel like I'm still able to muster out enough power to have a session. And actually as the wind comes up, it feels far more manageable. You can cheat and overshoot a 15 meter a bit more than a 17. On both, eventually you'll find a point where you just get super overpowered, but a 15 is going to go a little bit longer. And I feel like on those days where you're just thinking about rigging up and it's trending up, you're probably going to be better suited with a 15 than a 17. It feels like a 17 is very ephemeral unless you're a heavier weight rider where you kind of pass through that. And all of a sudden you got a big kite, you're all smiles, and then you're 50 feet up in the air, super overpowered, so you're sizing down, whereas a 15 you can hold down a little bit longer. I also really appreciate the faster turning speed, and in turn that allows you to generate a bit more apparent wind. So that's going to take a little bit more experience, obviously, depending on where you're at in your kiteboarding journey. But as you become more proficient in lighter wind riding, you'll get more efficient at generating that apparent wind and kind of cheating your way through those luffs and keeping that speed going. I don't really think there's a wrong way to go. Both are epic kites. You're going to have a really, really awesome session. But when it comes to building your quiver, I find myself gravitating towards that 15 and then pairing it something with like a 12 for my all around. And then I'll size to a 9 and a 7 respectively. Again, a topic for a different video. I do feel like the move from a 17 to a 12 is also very, very doable. I don't think that 5 meter spread is too much. Maybe right near the top when you're thinking about putting up your 12, you might have a little bit more power on the 17 than you would like, but I still think it's very, very comfortable. But I do think the added turning speed, the liveliness of the kite, and the ability to take it up to the higher wind speeds makes it a really, really great match for your quiver. Guys, as always, thanks for checking us out. This has been Jake with MACkite.